The Anaheim City School District, in cooperation with KCET Los Angeles, presents an instructional television point of view. This program is designed to demonstrate how television teaching techniques can make instructional TV an effective instrument as well as a tool of communication. The essence of television, the many artistic disciplines such as writing, graphics, directing, to name a few, must be incorporated into the initial design of a television lesson if ITV is to be successful. We believe effective instructional television requires broadcast-oriented personnel, skillful in applying broadcast techniques which exploit the full communication potential of the medium. Here to illustrate this theme is the production manager for the Anaheim School District ITV Center, Charles Callaci.
There are many vehicles through which information can come. One of these is the teacher talking. Information can be communicated through the arts of music, film, comedy, dance, audience participation, and so on, as well as by a teacher talking. Important ideas and concepts can be delivered with impact through the skillful use of performance and creative arts techniques rather than a teacher talking. So, beginning with this basic premise, that a teacher talking is only one of many, many ways to communicate, we suggest that television teaching techniques rather than classroom teaching techniques will promote active participation and will stimulate interest in learning. Our first example to illustrate television teaching techniques shows the opening of a fourth grade science lesson in which the art of music was dramatically used to set the mood for a lesson on cold-blooded animals. In an attempt to recapture the atmosphere which brought about the American Revolution, the vehicle selected Longfellow's poem, The Midnight Ride of Paul Revere, did the job. By adding the arts of dramatic reading and camera motion within still pictures, here is a portion of what fifth graders saw.
And lo, as he looks on the belfry's height, a glimmer, and then a gleam of light. He springs to the saddle, the bridle he turns, but lingers and gazes till full on his sight a second lamp in the belfry burns. A hurry of hoofs in the village street, a shape in the moonlight, a bulk in the dark, and beneath from the pebbles in passing, a spark struck out by a steed flying fearless and fleet, that was all. And yet through the gloom and the light, the fate of a nation was riding that night, and the spark struck out by that steed in his flight kindled the land into flame with its heat. It was 12 at the village clock when he crossed the bridge into Bedford town. He heard the crowing of the cock, the barking of the farmer's dog, and felt the damp of the river fog that rises after the sun comes down. The British are coming! Up and arm! It was 1 by the village clock when he galloped into Lexington. He saw the gilded weathercock swim in the moonlight as he passed, and the meeting house windows blank and bare gaze at him with a spectral stare as if they already stood aghast at the bloody work they would look upon.
Argue, so I quit.
Under limited studio conditions, a music listening experience was made possible with this unattractive prop. Now, this record player served as a listening vehicle to emphasize and reinforce what was taught earlier in the lesson. With simple exploitation of cameras now, listen to the elements that make up a musical arrangement.
Listen to one instrumental arrangement of The Girl I Left Behind Me and see if we can hear what the particular arranger in this case has done with a melody that we know.
To stimulate and encourage participation in a song typical of those found in state textbooks, the music teacher was placed in an appropriate setting. Then the song was taught through the arts of professional singing and professional guitar accompaniment.
Sing it one more time. Let's try it once again. I ride an old paint, I lead an old Dan. I'm going to Montana for to throw the hula hand. They feed in the coulees, they water in the draw. Their tails are all matted, their backs are all raw. Ride around, little doggies, ride around them slow, for they're fiery and snuffy and raring to go. This time, let's sing the song once again, and this time we'll sing it very, very softly. Maybe when we're coming into camp, we'll sing it softly. We call it in music, we call it pianissimo, or softly, very softly. Let's try it. Ready? Let's sing. I ride an old paint, I lead an old Dan. I'm going to Montana for to throw the hula hand. They feed in the coulees, they water in the draw. Their tails are all matted, their backs are all raw. Ride around, little doggies, ride around them slow, for they're fiery and snuffy and raring to go. Boys and girls, we've been talking about the American cowboy and his songs and his legends. But you know, sometimes the cowboys like to kind of live it up, like you've seen in the movies and on television. And particularly when they came to a frontier town like Dodge City or Abilene. At the end of the long trail are the northern frontier towns like Abilene and Dodge City. And after the loneliness and hardship of the trail, the cowboys look forward to the excitement of the town.
In teaching conversational Spanish, the art of comedy is frequently used as the vehicle to review the phrases presented and drilled earlier in the lesson. Now, the phrases in the following lesson were taxi aquí por favor, that means here taxi, come over here. Llévame al Hotel Disneylandia, llévame al Hotel Disneylandia, take me to the Disneyland Hotel. The third phrase, está en la calle West 5007. It is on West Street number 5007. Now in this review and classroom participation activity, the television teacher guided the students as they helped him speak to the cab driver.
Buenas tardes, cochero.
Buenas tardes, señor. Buenas tardes, niños.
Qué bueno.
¿A dónde quiere ir?
Lléveme al Hotel Disneylandia.
Al Hotel Disneylandia.
Pregúntele a los niños.
¿A dónde quiere ir?
Lléveme al Hotel Disneylandia.
El Hotel Disneylandia. ¿Dónde está Hotel Disneylandia?
Está en la calle West, número 5007.
Calle West, número 5007.
Pregúntele a los niños.
¿A dónde quiere ir? ¿Dónde está Disneylandia Hotel?
Está en la calle West, número 5007.
Señor, yo no sé dónde está.
Usted sabe dónde está Disneyland, ¿verdad? ¿Sabe dónde está Frontierland?
Disneyland,
Sí.
Frontierland,
Adventureland, ¿verdad?
Adventureland, Fantasyland,
Fantasyland, sí.
Tomorrowland,
Tomorrowland, sí.
Goofy, Donald Duck,
Goofy, sí, sí.
Mickey Mouse.
Mickey Mouse
Sí,
también.
señor. Muy bien, gracias.
Señor, venga. Taxi, aquí.
In a fifth grade social studies lesson, the students, through their imagination, went back in time to listen to and take notes on a very important historical event. The television lesson was designed to provide the classrooms with note-taking time. The students, who were reporters, after each set of ideas were presented, wrote these notes down, then compared these notes with those of the teacher.
Well, now we have one more place to go for our interview, and in doing this, we'll have to leave these palace walls and go down to the dock area where preparations for this voyage are being made. Perhaps there, we will be able to talk to some of the people who are going along. Come on along quietly. Good evening, matey. We've been walking here in this dock area and hearing about a voyage that is about to depart. Are you going on this strange expedition?
Yes, and strange it is. That crazy captain and his even crazier ideas.
Well, now, if you feel that way, why are you going on this voyage?
Well, it's better than being in His Majesty's prison. Myself, I have 15 years yet to go, but if the voyage is successful, why, I'm forgiven those 15 years. Yeah, actually, the whole crew's like that.
Oh, aren't you afraid to sail so far from land in the small, dingy ships?
Yes, afraid, of course afraid, but at least there's hope. In prison there wasn't any. Well, you know, far out at sea, a long time, you might have some problems, that captain. You never can tell what will happen at sea.
Well, how would you like to sail on a voyage for a long distance with a crew of people like that? We seem to have plenty of information with which to write a news story from what we heard in today's lesson. For with the use of our imagination, we were able to talk to 4 people. And we learned a great deal about a voyage which was to take place in the year 1492. Let's think once again of those people that we talked to and the story that they told us. In talking to the teacher, we heard ideas about the shape of the earth. And in talking to the ship's captain, we heard some very different ideas. In an interview with this queen, we heard of her choice between those ideas. And in talking to a sailor, we gained some ideas about the crew.
As we said earlier, the talking face is only one of many ways to inform and instruct. The talking face, the lecture, even with added pictures, can only be effective in transmitting information when the entire personality connected to that face is alive and enthusiastic. Although the art of personality projection and the skill of oral communication is not included in teacher training, the teacher or expert, untrained in communication skills, is usually the first and only communicator seen on educational television. Now, isn't it egotistical for us in education to feel that we alone are strong enough to sustain interest? An effective television teacher doesn't have to climb walls as a Jerry Lewis, nor should he be a cadaver in the window seat. The teacher selected for television, whether he has supporting production aids or not, should be adept in the use of the arts of oral communication. Now, in our final example, notice how music professor Dr. Jester Hairston, with his body and personality alone, graphically illustrates this eighth note rest.
A rest, an eighth rest especially, is if someone hits you in the ribs like this real quick. Dip your finger in the water coming, cool my tongue cause I'm tormented in the flame. You see that? That's an eighth rest hitting you in the ribs. He so says, dip your finger in the water coming, cool my tongue. So now watch now. Don't, come on, dip your finger in the water. Everybody. Dip your finger in the water coming, cool my tongue cause I'm tormented in the flame. Now don't go all over the school jabbing each other in the ribs, you see, but that's the way you must say it with that type of precision. So now come on, dip your finger. Dip your finger in the water coming, cool my tongue cause I'm tormented in the flame. Say poor.
Well, the purpose of these television lesson excerpts was to point out that television is a medium unique in its nature. Effective television instruction requires more than taking a picture of a classroom teacher using classroom teaching methods in the classroom style delivery. Without communication arts techniques, the full potential of this television instrument cannot be achieved. The skillful use of these production techniques are teaching methods, television teaching methods. Well, in closing, let me touch on one more major principle, and this comes from the art of selling. When you've made your pitch, wind it up. Don't oversell. So to get you off to a fast start in discussing some of these ideas, here's our final production technique.
Standby tape is rolling in 3, 2, 1.